Ooh. Ah. Fancy. Hey there, everybody in YouTube land. Today, I'm gonna do an unboxing video, something I really never thought I would have done, but this car is a little bit too special to not go ahead and unbox. I'm gonna do it here in my in my dining area, my little breakfast nook, because I just don't have enough room, enough lighting in the office to really show the unbelievable detail of this car. For those of you that don't know, this is the new Snap-on 1920's sprint car. Really, it's the Clemens C6 race car, so it makes it's either a 1925 or a 1926. It's kind of hard to find exactly what year it is, but this was a really special car back in the day. As you can see, it's still sealed up. Got a little bit of information about the car there. Another shot on the side. And then you have a lot of info. Well, not a lot, but it has some info on the actual car itself, what it's all based off of. And I'm going to go into a little bit deeper explanation of the man and what made this particular car such a special car back in the day. But first we've definitely got to do an unboxing on it. And again, I'm sorry for the dirty hands. I just got off work, and I wanted to share this little treasure with everybody. Unfortunately, I won't be able to drive it for a couple days. As you can see, the weather out there, it's nasty. It's been raining all day, and it's supposed to be raining all week. So I think it's going to be a couple days till I get a chance to actually go drive it. But at least I can give as much information on the car itself and what it's based off of. So let's open it up. My free O'Reilly's knife. Gotta love O'Reilly's. I really did not expect to get my hands on one of these because they're so hard to get. You cannot buy them. You can only win them on the Snap-on trucks, and then people are selling them for absolutely ridiculous prices. So I'm not going to say what I paid for this thing, but it is definitely my most expensive RC car I have ever purchased. Oh, it's in there pretty good too. This thing almost makes my DBXLE 2.0 look cheap by comparison. But I wanted it, and I wanted it for you guys, because I'm not gonna drive this car much. Yeah, I'll do a couple videos for y'all. I'll do a speed run and drive around. Oh, that's a good looking car. Well, that's nice. It comes with your battery pack and a charger, another Traxxas charger. So, bonus. I actually did not know that was included in there. So, and it looks like Miss Cleo wants to help us unbox the car. So, probably would have helped if I would have remembered to bring my cutters with me. So I'm going to pause the video for a quick second and go grab my cutters. Alright, I figured people didn't want to see me clip zip ties, so I just went ahead and pulled it out and put it on this stand. Unfortunately, I see it has a broken part right out of the box. I'm actually not worried about that. I have to give props to my Snap-on guy. His name is Taylor Oden. And if you're in the Waco area and you need Snap-on tools, he's been my Snap-on guy for years. He's just a great guy. And I literally just sent him a quick picture of this part that's broken, and he's such a good guy. He thought I was still at work. He was going to go ahead and swap it out right now, but because he does have one more on the truck for his giveaway. But Taylor was kind enough to sell me this car. I'm not going to say what I paid for it, but like I said, it's definitely my most expensive RC car ever. But it is so cool. I'm still going to go ahead and go on with the explanation video and show you all the little details on it. Unfortunately, obviously, I can't drive it because of this, but you know, that satisfying peel back. Let's just go ahead and do that anyway. Oh yeah, it looks like it got jumped around in the box quite a bit there. I see the body's popped out. And that happens. I've bought other RC cars, right from the store, and they were broken out of the box. So, not like I said, not worried about it. He's gonna get me taken care of, and I'm sure he'll get this one corrected for the giveaway. So there we go. There it is in all of its glory. This is a BL2 system, so it's only a 2-cell car. It is brushless, and it does have a very unique drivetrain on it. We'll start off with some of the basics here. You've got your typical old school Model T drop spindle front axle. As others have pointed out, that transverse leaf spring that it has, front and rear, is just there for show. All of your spring action is just in this part here. They do not feel like they're just springs, because if you look at that, there is some dampening action going on in there. So it does have some kind of twist style shock absorber. Kind of reminds me of those old what was it? I think the Citroens that had those weird shocks. Like some Volkswagens too, where they had a twist action shock. But the detail of the car is amazing. Down to you have your radiator tank up front. Your radiator's in here, but this is your radiator overflower, what we currently call a surge tank. But basically, it feeds back to the motor. Of course, this one's not going to have it, but I will insert some pictures of the real car here so you can actually see where all that goes. But I'll do that in a couple minutes. I just want to explain some stuff first. So this is the radiator. You got your coolant hose, and then you have a heat extractor, a simulated heat extractor anyway, for engine bay temperature, and then your 4-into-1 collector. And then on the other side, you have, again, these are just heat extractors. That's just to help keep the engines cool while they were racing. And you got your 2 one-barrel carburetors. Now, the motor that these things came with is quite special. It is just a standard Model T flat 4 or flathead 4, but it was modified by Clemens with what they call the fronty head. And he developed that head while working at Chevrolet in the early 1920s. And they were actually working on a Model T chassis. This is actually called a skinny chassis, and that was Fred Clemens' nickname was Skinny. So That's why they call these the skinny frames, because that was his design. But the engine itself, while it is still a flathead 4, it has a different head on it that Fred Clemens designed. And it was the very first overhead cam, chain-driven overhead cam engine around, especially in the race world. These cars were the fastest thing on the track back in Indy. Fred Clemens was the first person ever to race at Indianapolis 500. And these cars are just so special because of that. Now, back then, speeds were way different. These cars were doing about 98 to 100 miles per hour. And that was cooking on skinny little bias ply tires like that with Dayton knockoffs. And you had to have giant brass ones back in the day, because true to the real car, there is no seatbelt. Just like the real car, granted this isn't a gas tank, but this is where the gas tank normally was. This is your fuel filler. I'm going to keep this foam on here for now since I'm returning this one. But this was your fuel tank, and your seat back was rested right up against the fuel tank. No seatbelt, leather helmet. You had to have just giant huevos to race these things back in the day. I mean, look how easy it'd be to fall out. But going on with the car, this part here is a fuel pump. What the driver would do during the race is he'd have to reach out to the car and grab this handle and pump it several times and pressurize the fuel tank. And that would fill up these fuel bowls, and that was how you got fuel to the engine back in the day. There was no electronic fuel pump. There wasn't even a mechanically driven fuel pump for it. You had to do it yourself. And on street cars, they didn't really need it after you first started it, because the carburetor would just suck it into the fuel bowl and you'd be fine. But since you're at wide open throttle the entire time, as soon as these fuel bowls start to get empty, the cars would backfire. They'd miss a little bit, and the driver knew, hey, it's time to start pulling on this a few more times and build up some pressure. I do like how it keeps that old school style steering. This is this is before rack and pinion. This is even before recirculating ball steering. This is old school. The seat itself isn't actually leather. It's not even soft, but they did a great job, especially with the rivets attaching them. It looks like a real leather seat just sitting there. Of course, you've got a solid rear axle, just as it would be. Excuse me, kitten. And the suspension is it's really nice and plush. It's very smooth acting. You've got dual dampeners in the back and one in the front. And the reason why you have dual in the back is because of that's where all the weight is on this RC car. Also, it does include the TQI radio, so you can add a iLink to there if you want. But I've noticed over the years that the TQI is a much nicer performing radio than the TQs are. The TQs are just that's the bottom of the barrel radio for them. So let's get to the bottom side. Got that nice Traxxas logo on the chassis, I should say. Very clean, nothing really sticking out underneath. The real car does have a radiator hose that comes from the bottom into here. And now I'm going to go ahead and insert a few pictures of the actual car, how it sits today, and maybe some of them from how it sat back in the race day. But it just got rebuilt a little bit. So I'm going to post some of the pictures of that right now. Okay, so now that we're back, let's go ahead and remove the body. So you got 2 clips in the back. Love Traxxas's clipless body design. 1 clip in the front. And then there you go. The body, and hey, I'm doing this in real time, so I am feeling it right as I am describing it for the first time. The body feels like the normal Traxxas Lexan, maybe a little bit thicker. Really nice quality on the mounts. And it's not very heavy. It's a pretty light body. It's I'd say it's about on par with a regular 2-wheel drive slash body. It's just there's just not a whole lot of weight there. Going inside, you see you've got the Traxxas BL2 ESC with the brushless motor. And then you got the 2075 servo, which, it's not a super high-end servo, but at least it's not one of the super cheapos. I really like how this rear drive shaft setup works. Let's see if we can... So when the suspension goes up and down, you see it moves with that drive shaft, and then you have... your nice brushless motor, your pinion gear, your spur gear. I'm kind of halfway tempted to see if I could put a faster gear in it. I think I've seen people do about 24, 25 miles per hour on them, give or take, and I think it can do a little bit better than that, but really, this car's not about speed. It's all about the looks, all about the specialness of it. And I gotta say, they did a really good job on the looks. I am kind of bummed about this suspension part here being broke. I did at least want to drive it around the house, but I guess I'll just have to wait till tomorrow for that. But overall, it's really, really nice. These wheels are also a 3-piece. You do have, let's see if we can focus in on there, Dayton knockoffs. So you hit the Dayton knockoff, and this outer wire part comes off, and there's the normal I forget what size they are, whatever the normal little nut size is in there that holds the back side of the wheel and the tire on. So it is a 3-piece design, which is neat. Another really neat thing I found out, and I don't know if it's true or not. I'm going to try to do some more research, and hopefully when I do the running video on it, I'll be able to confirm whether or not it's true. But since this is a snap-on Traxxas car, that if you break any of the parts, you can just remove them and send them to Traxxas, and Traxxas will replace the parts for free. Whether or not that's actually true, I'm not too sure. I do know that inside the owner's manual, there are part numbers listed for all the parts on there. And I'll try to do some research to see if they are available, but if not, and if Traxxas does actually replace parts, just like if it was a snap-on tool, you break a snap-on wrench, they replace the wrench, no question asked. Doesn't matter if you broke it or it just failed. But that's about it for the car. Like I said, I wasn't expecting to spend this much money. I did it because I know a lot of my friends wanted to see this thing, and a lot of y'all on YouTube are going to have a lot of questions about these cars and a lot of the little details on them. So I hoped I answered all of that as good as I possibly could. Love that Traxxas clipless body, and the body is just it is so nice down to the badge on the radiator. Back in the day, that was your temperature gauge, was literally your radiator fill cap had a temperature gauge on it, so that's how you knew if you were running hot or not. they really did this car justice. The dashboard, let's see if we can zoom in a little bit there. Get in there. Okay, focus. I mean, you got your tach, you got the oil pressure, charge, fuel. It's all there. They did a really good job on let me zoom back out again on all the details of this car. I really am looking forward to driving it, and I really got to thank really got to thank Taylor again for making this happen. He knew I really wanted it, and he's a good friend and an excellent rep, and he did me right. So if you need tools in Waco from Snap-on, Taylor Oden, that's your guy. He's got his truck. We see him all the time. All my friends use him, and well, that's pretty much it for this video. I will work with Taylor on getting its replacement tomorrow, and then I will charge up a battery and I'll drive it somewhere. Maybe I can drive it at my local hobby town, since they've got a nice. Of course, their track is for mini V's, but this thing can putter around, and I do believe it's right at a quarter scale. It might be 1/5. But when I was looking at my Pro Moto riders, they look like they would just fit. So it being that the Pro Moto is quarter scale, I would bet that this is 1/5 scale, or somewhere right in between. I will find a guy to put in there. I've got a Rick Sanchez, see if his legs will bend, and I could put him in there and have Rick and Morty cruise around in it. But I hope this all answered some of y'all's questions as to exactly what all these parts are. Being a mechanic, it's real easy for me. So, fuel pump, carburetors, heat extractors for the engine bay heat, radiator overflow tank. There's your feed to feed the coolant back into the motor. Fuel tank in the rear. And then your 4-into-1 exhaust system. And they even did a little bit with simulating the drum brakes, because back in the day they didn't have disc brakes on these cars or any cars. So they did a pretty good job of making everything look legit. And that's what 95% of this car is about just looking legit. So I hope you all enjoyed the video, and look to the one that we will be doing soon with it driving around and seeing how it performs, see what kind of speeds we get out of it, and just see how it handles. You all have a good evening. It's the Dude RC. Dude abides.